Time is money, as they say, and I really don't want to throw good money after bad, so I think we should just shut this thing down, take the cameras down. Public has told us overwhelmingly they don't want them. I have offered to speak with some people to say, is there some middle ground approach that would satisfy you? Fewer cameras, less data retention, and the overwhelming response has been no. No, there's nothing you can do to this program that's going to make it acceptable. So based on that, I said we just shut it down and have the cameras down as soon as we can.
Pete?
So are we in questions or comments? Are we skipping questions?
We were asked to first decide whether or not we want to actually cancel the contract and move forward before we actually go into this item.
Get it. So, okay. I wrote some stuff as I've been pondering this for a long time, and I suppose it's not the process I envisioned, but I will read what I wrote because it answers the question in the end. But I did want to make a couple of points very specifically about that this whole topic did begun for us by, it was a handful of people who viewed these license plate readers as a modern policing tool. And I think, sadly, they missed the public policy implications that normally require community engagement and a more deeper council conversation about it. And for me, to be specific, that policy issue at hand is the shift from traditional policing tools where we focus on the bad guys to starting to gather and store data on innocent people who were never suspected of anything. And that, to me, is a policy issue. And that is where, we should have had a conversation about whether we wanted to change our policy or not. So our process failed, and I'm sorry for that. I suspect that we all have learned a lesson about how to think more broadly about what policy issues are. I will tell you that I believe ALPRs can be a useful policing tool. And I was convinced by arguments presented at our last hearing, and that legally their use is not a violation of our constitutional rights. And I suspect that, say, 2 years ago, if we would have had a conversation about the policy issues and talked about data retention and talked about data sharing and perhaps put it only at the entry and exit points of our town and not in the neighborhoods, we might be at a different point with the use of these cameras in our town. But, you layer on the significant amounts of fear and doubt amongst our people about the intentions and direction of our federal government and the seemingly scary and dangerous drift towards a surveillance state enabled by rapid technology changes and advances. So I say the time to implement this program is not now. I would personally revisit my thinking on this matter if, at our annual priority retreats or sometime in the future, if things shift. But I think big things would have to shift, and I don't foresee it. So I would also support a motion to cancel the contract with Flock and to drop the idea of the Citizens Work Group at this time.
Kathy?
Yes, it's highly unfortunate that this did not go through a process where both the policy questions could have been vetted, and if we were having those discussions and up here, there probably would have been more of a delve into the background of the Flock company as a provider. My own concerns about Flock have only continued to grow. Flock itself released a August 25th statement trying to clarify their relationship. I'm going to read a part of that. While it is true that Flock does not presently have a contractual relationship with any U.S. Department of Homeland Security agencies, we have engaged in limited pilots with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Homeland Security investigations to assist those agencies in combating human trafficking and fentanyl distribution. While those are fine goals, that was completely contrary to information that was provided to us in questions with the company representative. And the other part of this is that those pilot programs, it's come to light through many municipalities now questioning their relationships with Flock, that the municipalities even had any understanding that this was happening. So I am very disappointed in this company as a potential vendor to the city of Sedona. I am not supportive of continuing with going down the road to look into this. I don't think that the time is right at all with data security issues that have been raised. I would like to, when we get to that point, I want to see a motion that we cancel the contract and remove the cameras completely from the city of Sedona.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor. My colleagues have spoken very eloquently on this, and I have very little to add. So certainly since the meeting that we had here, the Flock representative, has, it would seem, was not as forthcoming, informed, whatever it may be, about what was really going on between the company and federal government, et cetera. And I'm not comfortable with proceeding any further. So again, I echo what my colleagues have already said. We should shut this thing down, cancel the contract, and get the cameras out. Thank you.
Melissa.
So I'm going to keep it pretty simple because I think everyone's been pretty elegant. And I would just say at this point in our history, the only way for us to make sure that data is not broadly shared or abused is to not have any. And so, therefore, I agree. We need to cancel the contract. We need to remove the cameras.
Vice Mayor.
I'm 100% agreement. And a company that tells us on August 13th that there's no data sharing going on, I swear, and on August 19th admits that it's been going on, is not a company that we can do business with. And they're not, in my opinion, an honorable company. So I would like to cancel the contract, remove all the cameras, but I do want to explain something to the public. It was stated, on our last council meeting, we approved body cameras. And at that time, a question was asked of the chief as to whether or not those, well, let me start by saying, I asked the representative from the company if the data was shared with anyone, and he said, no, it belongs to us and is not shared. Then the chief said that there could be sharing, that there was an ability to share that data with Flock if we chose to do so, but we had not acquired that particular module. Now, if we agree to cancel the contract, there won't be any module. Those cameras will not be connected to anything. And those cameras, I think we've been using for several years. This is a replacement. And those cameras provide, I think, for both perpetrators, victims, and police officers, an accounting of what happens at a stop. They get turned on when a stop is made, and they provide evidence of what has occurred. And I think that is critically important for all sides. And I want to just go on the record by saying that if we approve the cancellation of this contract, which it sounds like we're going to, that those cameras are not additional surveillance cameras. Those cameras are a law enforcement tool to provide the record of what happens at a stop, and they will not be connected to anything other than used for our own purposes. And Chief, is that correct?
She acknowledged.
She acknowledges by shaking her head that that's correct.
Okay. As many of you know, I was initially the only vote in favor of continuing this program. With more than 30 years in law enforcement, my focus has always been on protecting our community. At that time, I truly believe these cameras could help us keep Sedona safe and assist our officers in their duties. I had researched many positive examples where these tools were used responsibly to address the serious public safety concerns. However, I have since learned more about the overwhelming behind-the-scenes data sharing that was not disclosed to our police department or the council during the last meeting. I now have very serious concerns. We've seen how data from these cameras can be accessed by federal agencies in ways I wasn't aware of, and ways that our community is strongly opposed to. This is not about one incident. It's about the larger principle of local control and our duty to protect the privacy of Sedona residents. I have listened to your concerns. I read many of the emails, actually every single email, and reflected on the broader implications. Because of that, I am totally opposed to moving forward with the license plate reader program in Sedona. I believe it is in our community's best interest to remove these cameras totally and to ensure that both our values and our residents' privacy are respected. So, where are we? Do we have well, before we even go to a motion, we've all opined. I have cards from people. We are unanimous on the dais. I'm going to ask each person if you still wish to speak, and if you do, by all means, you have the right to speak. Jessica Williamson, do you still wish to speak? No. Tim Perry, do you still wish to speak? No. Thank you. Mick Jordell, I always make that mistake. I apologize, Mick. And Michelle Jack, do you still wish to speak? No. Okay. This is a much better way to do things. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
That was very good.
Absolutely. Okay.
Can I
yes.
ask our attorney a question? I would like to be able to make a motion on this, Kurt, if you feel that is appropriate, because this was an item for direction on a committee. But what I would like to do is make a motion to have it on the record in a position of counsel that the ALPR contract with Flock be severed and that the existing Flock cameras be removed.
That's fine, Councilor Kinsella.
Oh, therefore,
Second.
I'd like to make. Oh, there you go. That also
Second.
position.
Okay.
And to drop the idea of
the committee.
Yes, right.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are unanimous. Okay.
And thank you to the community for speaking up.
I appreciate the emails immensely. It helped me a lot. I had no idea that the cameras were doing that kind of data sharing. None. And I feel bad for our police department, who was lied to by the committee, or I apologize, the company. That's just sad. So,
and if I could also include that I feel for our city manager, who actually took a lot of heat on this.
She took a lot of
which
heat.
was completely inappropriate.
Absolutely inappropriate. And I again, I apologize. I apologized 2 weeks ago, and I apologize again. And we'll be moving forward, hopefully.